Hello, this is Vincent of Dreamhouse. I am here in the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City. In addition to writing my article, I thought maybe I would document some of my exploits here in New York City, as well as telling you all about myself. So off we go.
So first things first, just for the viewers at home who have not heard of your brand, what is Ikiryo? What does it stand for? Where does the name come from?
Ikiryo is actually a Japanese supernatural term. Ikiryo basically is the ghost of a living person. So I've always thought of fragrance as very ghostly and ethereal. Each fragrance I create is basically based on sleepwalking, or inspired by sleepwalking, I should say. For about 3 years I've wanted to do a series based on sleepwalking, but never really had the idea. Last year I got my blasting cap, as it were, as far as my idea and inspiration when I started creating fragrances. So I got the idea of creating a series of stories based on somnambulation, and fragrance will be tied into that. Each story has a sleepwalker, a protagonist who appears in the story and has dreams. It's rare that a sleepwalker dreams, but when they do, it is kind of odd. So each story has a sleepwalker. She has her dreams, and there are various themes, like continuum, lucidity.
So I consider your brand to be one of the most gothic that I've come across in the perfume industry, right next to Black Phoenix Alchemy Labs. And I really mean that when I say it, and I know I've mentioned it in a review of mine. And after I got the opportunity to talk to you on the phone for about a half hour, you mentioned to me that you actually have experience in the theater business as well. Would you care to talk to us a little bit about that?
I've been in the theater business since I was a teenager, and my love of theater, particularly opera, has definitely had a hand in pretty much everything that I do. Storytelling is very, very important to me, and so nothing can tell a great story like opera.
Now, since we're on the topic of packaging, I know a lot of leaves and herbs and flowers are used as ingredients in fragrances, colognes, and perfumes. But when we look at the cylindrical tins that your fragrances come in, we notice that there's usually like a shrub that comes out of it. Could you talk to us about what else is in that cylindrical box, in that tin?
In that container, you will get a filler, which will more often than not tie into the story. But amongst that filler, you'll get the bottle, and cupped around the tin, you'll get the book. So this is one entire package. You get the book, you get the fragrance, and it's all handmade by me, all of it. Okay, so very quickly I'm gonna take you through what I go through to create a picture for one of my books. This is the Sleepwalker, beautifully posed by the gorgeous Ava, who I work with in San Francisco. I always start with a green screen shot of models. So I cut her out, paste her here. Okay, so she is ready. I am actually rendering a picture here to drop her into, so that will be ready in maybe another 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so paste. Did what I do with my pictures. You can get rid of this now. It's always texturizing. Since my backgrounds are computer generated, sometimes they look a little too artificial. And there we have it.
So now we are back at my place where we are chatting and sniffing and making it all about fragrances as we usually do. And I wanted to talk about a fragrance that's not yet released, but it will be released soon. And it's actually my scent of the day, and it's the newest Ikiryo, and it goes by the name Torture. So, Vincent, would you care to just give us a little bit of inside scoop about Homme Torturé?
Homme Torturé, as you can see by the white bottle, the appearance of the white bottle, it was inspiration I got from various spots, and part of it was my love of supernatural and ghosts.
Yeah.
That's basically what the story in the book is about. Morally, I would say it's definitely about just acts of selflessness, even though you can't provide for yourself or won't provide for yourself. It was also inspired in part by a Japanese onigata, and an onigata, for those who don't know, is a man who specializes in performing the parts of a woman. So a Japanese onigata named Tommaso Burobando, one of his pieces is called Wisteria Maiden.
Okay.
And so my love of the fragrance wisteria and the fact that I've always loved mixing florals and woods together, all kind of came together and helped me conceptualize this.
So now that we've talked a little bit about Homme Torturé and we have a little bit of the story behind it, I do want to take a moment to talk a little bit about Oneirogen. And I do have Greek roots and I graduated from Greek school, so I know that oniro means dream and gen means birth or creation, like Genesis or generate. So whenever I think about this, I think of the birth of a dream, and then when I got to talking to you about it, you sort of validated or confirmed my guess on what this fragrance means. So could you talk to us a little bit about Oneirogen? This is, I think, especially cool, the whole presentation.
Thank you. Oneirogen is, I guess, one of my pet projects I've done for the past 6 months. At first it was going to be called Oneirogenic, but I don't know, that was kind of a mouthful, so I stuck with Oneirogen. This was the first scent that I created that I had made specifically for women. But again, upon testing it, I found that there are some men who love it. The story behind it is, as far as the book goes, I got the idea from just a thought I had about someone waking up in the middle of the night and walking into their bathroom and seeing Ophelia from Hamlet laying in their bathtub.
Wow.
And so I just kind of took that and just ran with it. So the storyline is basically a lady who's a failed actress, as an escape for her frustrations, she consumes an Oneirogen. Now, an Oneirogen, for those who don't know, is a substance one takes to induce dreaming. So I fictionalized a substance that this lady takes, and basically all it is she takes a blackberry and wraps a water lily petal around that and consumes it. That makes her have this recurring dream of going into this bathhouse and seeing Ophelia laying in this gigantic bath.
Yeah.
And so she would talk to her about all of her frustrations, and the only thing Ophelia ever says to her is, "Please let me go." Ultimately, this woman figures out that Ophelia saying, "Please let me go," is her subconscious saying to her, "Get over this failure and move on with your life." And so, in the end, what she does is she ends up dressing as Gertrude and reading Gertrude's soliloquy announcing Ophelia's death. And that, in a sense, kind of exorcises Ophelia from her dream. You know, people have asked me in the past what my inspiration is as far as my perfumery, who I get my inspiration from, who are my favorite fragrance houses. I have to say people like Terry Mugler, Seraphine Combs, but my number one right here.
The inspiration behind this one is Dante's Inferno, right?
Yeah, to a big degree. I kind of personalized it and kind of adjusted it to dreams. The storyline is basically somebody goes to sleep and in their dreams they're visited by the overseer of dreams and chastised for subconsciously misusing their dreams. For instance, I actually had a dream one night where somebody I cared about, as harsh as this may sound, I killed them by turning their neck 180 degrees. And when I woke up, obviously I was really disturbed, but being that I took dream analysis at one point, I realized, no, that doesn't reflect me wanting to quote unquote kill them. Basically all it means is them having qualities that I don't like and wanting to turn those qualities around. So I actually incorporated that into the book, and in it the overseer chastises the protagonist about misuse of that dream and just relishing it and the enjoyment of doing that horrid act. So the fragrance itself is I definitely wanted to do something dark and spicy.
And it is. It is. It's both dark and spicy. Alright guys, so thank you so much for tuning in. That was my interview with Vincent of Dreamhouse from the brand Ikiryo. Please don't forget to subscribe for future videos, top 10s, giveaways, unboxings, and a lot of other fragrance related content. So on that note, is there anything that you would like to add, Vincent?
Well, one, I want to thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure.
I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It gives me a lot of inspiration. As far as what I want to say to people out there, stay tuned to Steven's channel because we are going to be doing a giveaway that's going to be more than just a fragrance. So it's going to be quite big, quite special, and I can't wait for it.
Sounds good. So Vincent, thank you once again for coming out. I really do appreciate it. It's been a pleasure meeting you. And guys, stay tuned. Remember, I smell well, so you can smell good. And we'll see you in the next video. Take care.
You know, for some odd reason, I get the feeling that we should hear Lanier Smith's intro coming from this church.
Cue it. You can't write that.